Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Total Traffic and Conversion here. And I'm here with Betty Withrow and Scott Harrell. And our guests is Scott and Betty. Will you do your introduction here?
Sure, I'm delighted. I'm delighted to introduce Scott. Scott and I met in a networking group, and we found out that we were both born in the same hospital in New Jersey, in Holy Name Hospital in Teaneck. So one thing led to another, and last week he triggered me by sending me photos of the hospital when he visited. So that tells you that it's not all professional in this life. It's friendship too. And I really enjoy Scott's company. I'm happy to bring him here in today because I know that he knows his stuff, and I'm looking forward to learning from him. So take it away, Scott. You got it.
Oh, thanks, Betty. It is amazing. I visited the place I was born. Of course, I have no memory of the place since I was just a wee lad, but it felt interesting to return to my roots. And surprisingly, people that I've met in lots of different domains were born in the same hospital. I just talked to a friend of mine who lives in Italy, and I had forgotten that he grew up in Bayonne, New Jersey, but he was also born in Holy Name. So there's some kind of weird connection that brings us or keeps us together. And I'm just going to assume that it's a positive thing in the universe and something to appreciate. So.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing the connection sometimes. When Bonnie and I met online, and we were in Vancouver, and we had a mutual friend in Mexico. She was from Los Angeles. I was in North Vancouver, and we had a mutual friend in Mexico. So it's a small world sometimes.
It is small, yeah.
So we do actually have a topic today to talk about, and business financial services. And this is what you suggested we talk about today. And what did you have in mind, Scott?
Well, I wanted to first of all thank you guys for the opportunity and let you know that I've had my own business for most of the past 30 years. And some of that was by accident because I would get a job at a company and then the company would go out of business. But I still had connections along the way. So that allowed me to, over time, establish my own business. And I've always enjoyed the interaction of working with small business owners and their staffs. Did a lot of consulting in the 90s, mostly on the tech side of things. And then in the early 2000s, I got involved with financial services, specifically life and health insurance and retirement planning. And more recently, I added Medicare to that whole scene. But I was remembering that I kind of missing the connection I had with the business side of things. So, because, Medicare, most people are retired and that's great. Lots of wonderful people, but I like the hustle and bustle of being in business. And of course, there's a lot of vitality and a lot of things going on where people need help, especially in these rough economies we've had. So I've connected with a company, actually several companies, but there's mostly one upline that I work with that helps businesses reduce their overhead through various means. And when I'm talking about overhead, I'm talking about what the costs of doing businesses are, or running their business, or paying for services. And some of that is like your credit card transactions. In the case of the medical field, which I'm familiar with, they get reimbursements from the health insurance companies. And a lot of times they're not getting everything they're entitled to. And there are other different arenas where there's opportunities for a company such as the ones I work with to find leaks in the system and then show those companies that I would connect with the different ways that they would be able to reduce their overhead. There is my phone. Sorry about that. And typically the savings can be substantial. We're talking about like 20 to 30% of their overhead costs. So if you're a company that's doing $10 million in business a year, that could be, 2 to 3 million that you could recover potentially. So that's the arena I'm working in, and it is very much relationship based. And my challenge is to find the right fit for a client, because there's lots of small businesses that unfortunately fall below the threshold of where I'm able to do much for them, other than perhaps like some type of insurance work, which is great. But the bigger the company, the more opportunities there are. But I'm trying to find the sweet spot for myself. Fortunately, I live in the greater Los Angeles area, and there's so many businesses there, so it's still a huge opportunity. And I've been doing my best to do a lot of networking. I host a weekly networking group called My City, and we've got some great folks, including those present here today. And we are a broad group of professionals covering lots of different skill sets. And one thing I like is if I'm able to make a relationship with a company, I can also bring the strength of all the other people that I work with or have connected with along for the ride. So if someone needs a writer, I turn to Betty. So, and there are lots of other professionals we work with, business brokers and other types of advisors, accounting, CPAs. So there's a lot of strengths that I can bring to the table. But the biggest challenge is really to get to the company to know, like, and trust who you are. And it's actually a pretty easy sale after that if the people can see the benefit. And the best thing of all is if I go to a company and I say, let me show you some of the potential services you could qualify for. And they say, sounds good. So what's the next step? And we set up a discovery call with the real pros who are the experts in that particular niche, whatever it might be. And if they see that there is a fit, there's no upfront cost to the company. If they realize savings, so you say, we think we could save you 250,000 a year on X, then the company agrees, then they split the difference. So half of the money goes to my upline, the other half goes to the company, and I hopefully would get a commission from what is being saved. And so it's a win-win. And because people are, that money's going out the window now. So if they can recover a big chunk of what they're missing out on, it's a great benefit. Sometimes it can make the difference between making payroll or not, especially these days where there's so much instability and uncertainty. And also, if they qualify for one service, then there's a good chance they could qualify for another. So it's a win-win that can build. One win can build another next win. And I'm looking to build these relationships for a long period. So a lot of the contracts are for anywhere from 2 to 5 years, but it's a win for the companies. And also having that win is a win for me. Plus building those relationships, and then, hopefully it grows into other areas where I could be like a long-term advisor and support for that company. So that's what I'm doing.
That's fabulous. So Betty,
Makes
Betty,
sense?
yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So
Okay.
you work with a number of experts, specialists, and companies to find the right
Mhm.
fit for a particular client to see
Correct.
where you can
Well,
help
I
them.
have to find the client. And
You, oh,
my upline has the expertise. So,
yeah,
for
yes,
example, if a company wants to improve their credit card processing costs,
okay,
the what's cool is there are a lot of companies that will basically pitch a, a prospect on saying we can save you money by using us instead of the other guy,
yeah,
and then over time they end up costing just as much as the other
sure,
guy. My people use a different philosophy. They find flaws in the contracts with their software because they've come out of those industries and have the knowledge and expertise about all the little nuanced things that for the lay person they're not going to get it. But the software catches any disparities between the contract and what they were charged, and there's just huge opportunities to
Yeah.
like fill the holes, and it's done for them, and it's
Okay.
done on an ongoing basis. So, they're going to be saving money every month after month.
Would
And
that be things like they're paying for services they're not actually using, or overpaying?
more typically, it could find flaws like that, but more typically, they are being overcharged for things.
Yeah.
So if the contract says, it's supposed to be 2.5% for transactions up to X number of dollars, they might find where maybe they were charged 2.75. And without using too many details that might not actually be accurate, I would say that what I've come to understand is that the companies that contract the authorization services have a built-in like auto assumption process where they say if there's an error but you don't report it to us, we're going to assume that it's okay. So you can imagine the potential for abuse or kind of carelessness that would be in favor of the processing company and not the client. So the software is designed to find those opportunities for abuse or even just simple errors in billing and correct them.
Yeah.
And the key point is that you have to have a fairly large number of transactions in dollar amounts to make it worth doing for my company, and also for the savings to be a significant amount for the receiving company. So
Okay. So Alan Holmes has a question here. Does your software assist those in the work at home space, or is it dedicated to the small to medium businesses?
yeah, it would definitely be a more small to medium size.
Yeah.
Because unless you're doing it, millions in volume at home by yourself, I mean, if that's
Yeah.
the case,
We
you
aspire
probably
to.
could. But yeah, we all do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my challenge, because there's lots of companies that are, 1 to 4 or 5 employees that I'd love to help because they have inefficiencies, and I can help them, and I have other people I work with that can consult with them. But in terms of the software strategies that I'm able to offer, it's that have to have like a certain dollar minimum,
Yeah.
and it varies depending on the type of service. But you're in most cases, you're dealing with companies that are like 10 to 100 employees.
Yeah.
And even some larger ones. But I'm not
Okay.
really, since I work on more the personal relationship side, I'm going to be on the smaller end of what my company can offer. And I'm good with that because I like to go in and just, have that relationship versus a corporate team kind of approach. I'm not really configured for that.
Right. So
I
Ben,
love the way you put that. I'm not really configured for that. That's good.
Well, I could be, but
Yeah.
you have to find what works for you, and
you need a Scott 3.0 for that.
get myself cloned and put the clone to work, and I'll just stay home and read books. Sure.
Yeah. That goes back to a joke I used to use a lot when I was raising my family. It's like, where's that case of clones I ordered? It's late.
Yeah.
It's late.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, this is a valuable process for making our economy work. Is that businesses need to be able to understand where are the holes in their overhead process so that they can patch them and have a better boat that can make more progress through the world, offering the goods and services that they do. Take me off camera, Greg. I'm about to sneeze, please.
Okay. There we go.
Well, if I can take the moment to I'll just list some of the industries that are kind of my sweet spot. It would be retail, but I'm not going to get Walmart as a client. But
Okay.
not that I would even want that. But there are lots of, you know, more local companies that maybe have 2 or 3 stores. That could be a nice client.
Okay.
Manufacturing. I love manufacturers because they're people that are working, you know, they've got a physical location, brick and mortar building, and they're providing jobs. And typically the owner has built the company up from nothing. I love those companies because that to me represents what small business America is supposed to be like, as opposed to, you know, somewhere in some other country. Uh, Oil and gas, I don't really deal with that, but it's available to me. Hotel, restaurant, hospital, construction, and service organizations. So another great opportunity for me, but it's kind of tough nut to crack is hospitals. And the reason why it's tough is there's been a lot of consolidation in the hospital space. So whereas traditionally a hospital would be one entity, and maybe they have a medical center and then the contracts with doctors and blah 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 in one location or maybe two. But now they're, because of the extreme costs involved with running hospitals, they're saying we need to be teamed up with, you know, bigger entity to survive. So on the one hand, it's a bigger opportunity for me, but on the other hand, it's a harder nut to crack. But that's something the medical underpayments is a huge arena. And wasn't aware of this until recently, but you know, a hospital would have a contract with all the different insurance companies. The doctors come in, they run through insurance, and then they're by service. Each service has a code number, and they have so many transactions. It would just blow your mind. Like your head would explode. So, on a monthly basis or weekly basis, even all these transactions involve a payment, and it's a contracted amount. But lo and behold, the insurance companies don't always pay everything they're supposed to pay. I know it's stunning to imagine that could be a possibility, but it's true. It's true. And it could be to the tune of millions of dollars per year.
Whoa.
Per company.
Yeah.
So in fact, it's such a big deal that they recently raised the minimum amount of billing that they would consider to handle, because the amount of work is significant.
Yeah.
But if they're focusing on little mom and pop operations, it's not going to be beneficial for my people.
Yeah.
So they raised the minimum to, you have to have 20 million a year and up in billing, which, you know, it sounds like a big number, but in hospitals, it's still on the small end, believe it or not, because there's so much money involved.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm able to help one hospital, that would be a great client, and then could potentially turn into, you know, we got a satellite location in Palm Springs, or, you know, whatever the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
And the good news, I am licensed, you know, for insurance, but with this business, I don't have limitations by location, and there is no licensure required for those services. So I'm, you know, someone says, "Hey, I got a great opportunity in New Jersey." It's like, sure, cool, I'm on my way. Just tell me where to go.
There we go. We're back in New
They
Jersey.
do that a lot in New Jersey. They'll tell you where to go.
We started in a hospital in New Jersey.
That's right. Yeah. Wouldn't that be ironic to get them as a client? That would be like, that would have to go in the book, right?
That would be,
You know,
yeah.
in the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
you
Eddie
never
can
know.
help you with
Maybe.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That could totally work. I mean, you know, that one picture that you sent me, Scott, there, I was right there on my way to high school again. I used to walk through that parking lot 5 times a week, 10 times a week, on the way to, on the way from. So
It's incredible.
yeah, it sent me down a rabbit hole. I'll tell you that.
Well, I pulled up in my rent-a-car and I didn't pay for parking, so I got out, I started taking pictures, and a security guard came up and goes, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I said, "This is where I was born many years ago. I haven't been back. I just wanted to take some pictures." Oh, he thought that was hilarious, so
Yeah.
it was all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a nice neighborhood too. You know,
Yeah.
it was greener and more homey than I expected. I was expecting it to be real businessy in that area, but it was nice. It's very
Yeah.
pleasant.
Yeah. It's a nice area. In fact, I went and looked up the house that I lived in, which was my grandparents' house. It looks exactly the same on Zillow,
Yeah.
except one of the trees is gone. But so, like I said, down the rabbit hole I go.
Yeah.
Stories, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a nice area.
It's nice to see like that built-in
Yeah.
because well, Southern California, something is old if it's from the 30s.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I live in Long Beach, and it seems like most of Long Beach was built in the early 50s and has that particular aesthetic that,
Mhm.
it's nice, but it's not like architecturally splendorous.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Whereas like Pacific Grove, they probably have some 20s colonials, which is really nice,
Yeah.
or
Not so.
mountain cabin style.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not as many older buildings as you might think. There's a place across
Oh
the
yeah,
street
sorry.
from me that's quite charming, a wooden structure up on a hill that dates back to the 20s and stuff. Is an older house around here.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Monterey,
I used to
Monterey,
live
though.
near Monterey,
Yeah, Monterey's
and
got
Carmel, of course, just
mhm,
so charming.
the old stuff. Yeah.
Just take charm and add a few zeros. That's Carmel, right?
Charm a million. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Charmillions.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, one thing I would just put out there for anybody's watching, if you have any leads, company that you think might be a possible fit for me, let's talk. And I have ways to, compensate. It's allowed to share in the joy, as it were. And it is about relationships. So
Yeah.
I want to talk to companies, and even if they're not a fit now, to for them to know that these things exist is a win for me. So
Yeah.
I'm ready to meet with pretty much everybody, and
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys today.
That's great. I just put your LinkedIn profile in the chat.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
earlier I put in the email or your website. Is that a good place for people to go learn more about what you do?
It's a good place to learn about my insurance side of things.
Oh, I
And I
see.
also have a brand new Medicare website,
Yeah.
which is lifetreeprohealth.com. The information about the business overheads not very well represented right now, so
Okay.
it's something I'm
Okay. So
working on.
contact you through LinkedIn's the best thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I have a link tree also, which I can send to people that has links to some of the service offerings, so they can get a little preview. But the best thing to do is just have a conversation with me, and I can show you other information that's relevant based on the type of industry you're in.
I'm just going to see if I can find. Do you have your link tree from your LinkedIn account? Is that part of your?
No, but I have been posting it like on Facebook, and I do have a direct LinkedIn post from a couple of days ago.
Okay. Anyway, they can track you down online, or they can ask us, and we'll forward.
Yeah, it's Linktree/Lifetree Pros is my link tree.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with the spelling on the link, it's linktr.ee/Lifetree Pros.
Okay.
And the beauty of that is it's really easy to update. In fact, I recently added a link to the My City Zoom event. on my link tree. So
Oh, good.
if people are curious about that and haven't been, we'd love to have you as a guest on our every Friday 8 a.m. Pacific show. It's where I met Betty and Greg and Roy, who's not here with us right now, but
He's in Myrtle Beach enjoying some vacation time.
Well, that's nice. It's a nice time of year to be down in Southeast.
Yeah.
Because it's still warm, but
yeah,
past hurricanes mostly, hopefully.
Yes.
And not quite Christmas rush.
Yeah.
We have one more question
nice.
from Alan.
Okay, fire away.
Okay. Is that the one you were looking at, Betty?
Yes.
Company size, like as I mentioned, the sweet spot is 10 to 100 employees, and absolutely nonprofits could be a great opportunity because there's a great need for a lot of those organizations. I have, limitations with staff in terms, so they're people doing more than they might at a for-profit company, just because they want to be a lean operation. So there's tremendous opportunities here. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And Alan also says he'd like to share it on his LinkedIn. So it's going to make you go viral here.
Gotta love Alan. He's the human Rolodex.
That's right. Yeah.
He's a good guy. Yeah. Thank you very much, Alan.
Yeah. Well, thanks for bringing this perspective to business relationships, Scott. Like you said, it's all about the relationships. At the end of the day, we know what each other does, and we say, okay, you need something, go to that guy. That's really how we do it in our networking. Yeah. And I know that what you're doing is motivated by wanting to improve the business environment for everybody. So thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. If I could make one last minute plug, it is the annual enrollment period for health insurance. So if you're under 65, I can help you mostly with Covered California, or I could also do small group insurance. But if you're also in Medicare, I'm an expert in Medicare. I've helped people from all over the country, and that goes until December 7th. If you want to find out whether you should change plans or make any other changes, I'm here to help.
Okay. That's a good reminder for people.
Yep.
Yep. Before it's too late.
Well, there are ways. It's never too late.
It's never too late. Yeah.
One of my expressions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for being our guest, Scott, and passing on this information, and reach out and find out, have that one-on-one session with Scott, and you can tell him where you're at, and he can maybe help you get into a better place. Save some money, maybe reinforce your insurance services, or all sorts of things, or you might know somebody who you should know. So
yeah,
all about collaboration here.
Even if we don't do business, I love meeting people. So I welcome the opportunity, and boy, I feel truly honored to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much.
Appreciated.
It's been wonderful to see you again today, Scott.
Okay, thanks, Betty.
And we'll be down having a drink with Roy shortly.
Yeah.
Looks like you already got the beach set up for yourself. So
yeah, we got the beach. We got a beach on our mind already.
Yeah. Got to snap your fingers just the right way, right?
There we go. All right. Happy Friday, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Take care.